So today I want to give my opinion of the Power Stone anime. And I have a very interesting relationship with Power Stone. And I used to play the video game in the 1990s, and I remember like my dad getting it for me for Christmas. Like my dad was the type of person that if I got stuff for Christmas, he would always like to give me the gifts that were not on the Christmas list. Sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't. So sometimes I was happy about it, sometimes I was a little disappointed. But as I get older, I'm just happy to have a Christmas because not everybody gets a Christmas or like the holiday that they want and stuff. But I know one of the surprise gifts I got was like Power Stone, the video game, and it did take me a while to kind of like really enjoy and fall in love with the video game. And also and a few weeks ago I got really into the Power Stone anime, and it was kind of really interesting to see it as an anime series. The first thing that I want to say is that Power Stone is about it takes place in the 1800s, and it's about a group of people who discover a power stone. And what that is it's a jewel that has the ability to make people transform into like a spiritual character and stuff. So it's almost like imagine like those bracelets that transform the Power Rangers into the Power Rangers, except you're not transforming into a Power Ranger, you're transforming into a character that kind of is resemble of your spirit. It stars a character named Falcon, and he's a pilot. So when he gets powered by the Power Stone, he basically turns into like this robotic. He turns into like this robotic, like astronaut looking creature that's all red and stuff. And he has the ability where his gloves fall off his body and they turn into like launchers. And then he also is able to like shoot missiles and stuff. It's interesting. It's easier said. It's either watched than explained. And there's a lot of other characters too. There's this character named Gunrock, and he turns into like this golem that either throws rocks, that either ground pounds and rocks appear out of nowhere, or he somersaults into a ball and he can turn into like, the boulder like you see in Indiana Jones that he has to outchase. So I think when I played the video game, there's a lot of things that I did not like about the video game, and I think one of the things is it's not really true to the anime at all. That I think like when you play the video game, you beat the game with a certain character. They show what happens when the character gets the Power Stone and the adventure that and like what they want to achieve and stuff. And when I watch the anime and stuff, it really kind of how the characters come off in the show is way different from the video game. So I didn't like that disconnect. But I do want to talk about the anime within this review. That it's 26 episodes, and that 26 is a very interesting number because I usually see a lot of Japanese animes that are 26 episodes. Like Noir is a really good one. El Cazador de la Bruja, Dot Hack Sign, and I think like if a series has a bunch of potential, they usually either cap it off at 12 episodes or 26 episodes. There's series like Naruto that can go over 600 episodes, or Dragon Ball Z, which can go over like 1,000. I'm not sure how many episodes are in Dragon Ball Z, but they go really, really far. Or Pokemon's a great example, where they said it's almost at 800, 900 episodes. But with Power Stone, it caps off at 26 episodes. And what I like about it is the main character, Falcon. He idolizes the villain of the series, which is Valgus, and Valgus is the main video in the video game. So Valgus is like this professional wrestler, was like this shoot wrestler and stuff. So Falcon so the first shot you see is Falcon getting up in his bed. There's a poster like Valgus and stuff. He wants to be like Valgus, and it's kind of revealed that he and Valgus have the same type of tragedy and stuff. Their fathers were not there for them because they're busy working. And they had to deal with bullies themselves, and they kind of were raised in the environment of, if you're strong, you live, you're weak, you die. The more of a ruffian that you are, the more of a fighter that you are, the more respect you get from people. And that's not always the best philosophy in life, that you have to, put hands to people to make yourself powerful and stuff. But also in his world, fighting, boxing, shoot fighting, wrestling, whatever, people like betting on you winning or losing. That's just how money really is made, mostly in that world and stuff. And he discovers he gets a message. He gets a gift from his father, who sends him a Power Stone through the mail. And then it's kind of and the whole series is based on his journey, like making friends who are after that and the other Power Stones, and how they kind of come together and find Falcon's father at the very end of the series, and then how they kind of confront Valgus at the very end of the series, who has a dark Power Stone. So it's really a battle between the good Power Stone, people holding the good Power Stones, and the guy holding the dark Power Stone, and who kind of comes out at the end and what that leads to and stuff. And I think Valgus's philosophy, because he's the main villain, is his wish is to make the world into a desolate, rigorous environment where only the strong lives and the weak dies and stuff. Versus what Falcon wants to achieve, which is, a better world for everybody, and not a world where, you have to be a ruffian, you have to have certain skills to survive and all that. So, as far as an anime, there are a lot of things that I do like and a lot of things that I don't like. I think what I want to start with the things that I don't like is that usually in Japanese animes like this one, it's extremely cheaply made, because I usually see, if characters are running and stuff, if you watch it really closely, it looks like they're running in place and the background's moving. In every single episode, it ends with somebody reciting the rhyme or the chant of the Power Stone. Power Stone has the ability to make any wish come true and all that. And also, so it gets a little repetitive and stuff. And also, you see the same, mid credits or mid sequence within the series, within the middle of the show and stuff, before it cuts to a commercial break. A lot of the characters, especially the villain characters like the Kraken Gang, they're very high eccentric personalities and stuff, so they're very, very campy people, and they do remind me a lot of Team Rocket, with how they can come up like in one sequence, they come up with mechanical robots. The next sequence, there's a lot of them and this and that, so they feel very campy and stuff. So I don't think as a series it does a lot with making the villains very dimensional and stuff. Every villain kind of feels like a mix of Jesse and James from Team Rocket, with maybe a over-the-top, hyper-comedic, for no reason type of Batman goon, from the 1960s Batman. So I don't like the villains within this series. I do think that, and they're also very repetitive, featuring the Kraken Gang. I also will say that as a show that I think that one of the strengths of the show is that they do have a lot of different characters, and I think what gets you into every episode is that when Falcon travels, he meets this girl named Ayami, he meets Rouge, he meets Galuda, he meets Gunrock, he meets Wang Tang, he meets all these other characters, and it seems like what sells really the series is that every single episode you meet a new and different character, and sometimes they're hit and miss. And I think what I like about this series is that the characters are very dimensional. Sometimes they can be very developed, sometimes they don't, but I really think in character development they really hit it at a 6 out of 10, which is really, really good and stuff. You look at I don't remember, I can't even think of a good example. There are some characters in The Simpsons, Ralph Wiggum, for example. Ralph Wiggum in The Simpsons, he's not really that developed a character. He's always going to be the simpleton. Versus, a character Lisa Simpson. We all know that her backstory is that, she's a privileged, she's very intelligent, but she can't really make it in better, because of her social economics, she can't really develop as a person and stuff, So I think within The Simpsons, when you look at the older episodes, there's a lot of character development, and then there's also one-dimensional characters. And, there's parallels with that within the Power Stone anime. I think a great example of characters are Rouge and stuff. Rouge, I like her as a character because, she does want the Power Stone. She has a Power Stone, and she kind of uses it to fortune tell, to help out her friends, and just also later on and maybe in her life she wants to kind of go back to her town that's possibly in India, and kind of take over as the head fortune teller and lead her people down a good path and stuff. And in one episode it's kind of found out that there's this fortune teller who took over her place because he was telling false fortunes and stuff. And what he did was he kind of rigged a volcano to go off, just to tell people that he could foresee the future, and if they give him all their possessions and money and everything like that, it's a way to kind of appease fire gods and whatever and stuff. Like, she comes from Atlantis superstition, but she's also a character that takes on a lot of responsibility, and also as a female character too. She's not overly sexualized. I do have to say this, that she does have like her breasts are kind of big and stuff, but but there's a lot of Japanese anime where female characters have super large breasts. There's also a character named Ayami in this, and within this anime, she's dresses up like she's like a ninja character. You see her in a kimono most of the time, but they don't need to show panty shots and other stuff. So that's kind of what I liked about this anime, where the female characters are not objectified or overly sexualized. So they're not characters with beach ball sized boobies. They're not characters where if they're wearing a kimono, or if they're wearing a short skirt, or they're wearing like a dress, you don't need to see you don't see their panties in every single episode like you see in other Japanese anime. And I think for the 1990s, when this came out, that's obviously something that was a little ahead of its time. And I also think right now that it's starting to be respected, the anime Power Stone, because again, there's a huge diversity of characters. There's characters from India, there's characters from Asia, there's characters from parts of America and all that. And I really think when you look at the Power Stone, even the video game, it kind of shows characters from around the world and stuff. And nowadays we are really open to tolerance. We're really open to better representation of women and minorities and stuff. So I think like the anime holds up over time. So when you see a character like Rouge and stuff who takes a lot of responsibility, she's not there to be a sex object and all that. She knows that she's sexy. She knows that being seductive gets her stuff, but she doesn't overly rely on that, or that's not the only thing she relies on. It's very helpful for a series, and it's also very progressive for something made in 1999. When 2019, when after 2016, this kind of approach has gotten more popular. And then also like a character like Ayami as well. Like, she's a female character. She has a brother who's a transsexual, and he's gay, but also in his approach, he's not somebody. He's a cross-dresser, he's transsexual, he's very flirty, but he's not so over the top that it's almost like a stereotype of gay people. So again, I think like what I like about this series is that yes, there are characters that are women, yes, there are characters that are gay and transsexual, but they don't overdo it to a point where you feel like they're stereotyping. I also feel like, again, with Ayami's character, she wears a kimono. We don't see panty shots of her. We don't see, panty shots of her because obviously she's wearing kimono and just underclothing under it. And I'm happy that they don't need to do that with her. And also, like, one thing I don't really like about, one kind of tragedy about the anime and the video game is that the video games portray the character one way and the anime portrays them another way. And that's kind of like my biggest disconnect with the video game. Like, Ayame in the video game, she comes off as this person who also deceives people with the Power Stone, but she's also but in the anime she's more of somebody who really cares about her ninja family and her clan and stuff. In the video game, what happens is Rouge gets the power. Her goal is getting the Power Stone, and once she has the Power Stone in the video game, her goal is to set up a fortune-telling booth where she can make anybody's wish come true and stuff. So you don't have a sense of her character being responsible within the video game, but in the anime, she's a character that has a lot of responsibility and stuff. In the video game, she's kind of like somebody who's very, very deceptive and all that. And also, you look at like Wang Tang's character in the anime. He is somebody who's very nice and generous and gets taken advantage of, and naive and stuff. And I think like over time, I've not watched all the anime, but over time, I feel like his character is going to be somebody who learns to kind of stand up for himself. When people giving him a hard time and stuff, he's going to look at other people's faults, not really his faults that much. But also, when you look at the video game, what happens is that he gets the Power Stone, but he comes back to his sensei's dojo with gold teeth and stuff. And the sensei's like saying, you're a fool. You have to go back and get the Power Stone again. So within the video game, it kind of shows Wang Tang's character as a bit of a clown and stuff. He's a bit of like a Jackie Chan type of clown person. But in the anime, he's somebody with responsibility. He's somebody like Rock Lee's character in Naruto, where where he is somebody who works hard, where he is somebody who works hard to overachieve and stuff, but he was always questioning how to get stronger and stuff. And usually it pays off because he is somebody who's worked harder than everybody else to get where he's at. Falcon is like the main character within the show, but he's definitely very dimensional. I like how in some episodes he's a prick, in some episodes he's somebody who doesn't want to take responsibility for, family duties and stuff. But he's also caring. He's also somebody who's a bit of a playboy. He's also somebody who can win matches, he loses matches. So he's not like an invincible hero and all that. But I do like his character development. I like how he can be a dick and an asshole sometimes, and then sometimes he can be the hero, or sometimes he can kind of really meditate on how he was an asshole and change. And that makes great character development. I saw the last episodes, and I did not like the final fight with Valgus, because I felt that was very, very rushed and stuff. And I really think that towards the end, Falcon kind of grows to have more of a heart to people and stuff. And I think that that's what's good about his character development. But I think overall as an anime, I think that, as I said, that character development is something that usually gets thrown under the bus and stuff a lot in animes or TV shows. Obviously, this anime was very, very cheaply made. It's extremely repetitive. It's extremely low budget, but I think they did the best that they could. I do think, as I said before, that, I wish the villains had more of a goal or more of an objective and stuff. Or maybe showed like who they cared about a little bit more and stuff. Or maybe because not every character's completely evil. Not every person's a complete douchebag. So if you have a villain that's a completely evil or a complete douchebag, it doesn't really work unless you throw in other tropes and stuff. So I don't like that aspect. And I think, as I mentioned, that I don't like the animation style. That I find it very, very repetitive. And there's other things within the show that are very repetitive. So but overall, I think it's worth watching the anime if you do like that and stuff. But I also think that, with Japanese anime, it's very easy to like it for a while, then hate it. And then it's also very easy to, be very, very critical and stuff. Because obviously, the older shows do show their age. They do show a different time and all that. And they also do show a lot of errors and stuff. And one thing I didn't like about this anime is that there are a lot of characters within this anime that their personality is extremely over the top and stuff. Again, with the Kraken Gang, those group of pirates that are trying to steal the Power Stone from Falcon through the episode, it's almost like they get overly excited or they get overly freaked out by stuff. So they're kind of their personalities are at 500%. Their sensitivity's at 500% over everything, and that kind of gets a little bit obnoxious and stupid, and it doesn't become a joke anymore. It becomes it becomes overly dramatic and cartoony and all that. And I think that's one of the things about Power Stone, and especially the video game, is that it does have a cartoony feel, but not to the extent. I think the best advice I would say for any writer or anybody who wants to make an anime or make any show is that when you watch this anime, look at the power of subtlety and look at the power of, lack of a better word, anti-subtlety, because that's kind of where Power Stone succeeds. When it's subtle with its characters, when the characters are not over the top or overly eccentric or overly cartoony, that's when it's good. But when it's overly cartoony and ridiculous and stupid and repetitive, that's where this anime fails. So I will say that this is one of the best probably examples of a 50-50 anime. And I really think that I wished a lot of Power Stone, the characters and their stories and everything about them, I wish a lot of that kind of transferred over in the video game, because then it would have kind of been a good marriage and stuff. But I wish they could have done that back then. But that's all I have to say about Power Stone. And I wanted to say that, in my childhood, it was one of the best video games I've ever played. And me and my brother would always talk for hours and hours. We were both very lonely people, but we would talk for hours and hours about fan fiction for Power Stone, or how we would create quests and stories for the characters and stuff, And we have actually written a couple of scripts for all the characters. So I really think that if they made Power Stone 3 or they brought back the anime and stuff, I think there would be a really good fan base for now. But obviously it's one of those things too that, they would have to make it maybe a 12 episode anime and just see where it goes and all that. But I really like this a lot, this anime a lot, and I really think it's one of the most underrated or underviewed animes ever made. I do think it's a great example of a 50-50 anime, but I think, if anybody has a curiosity to like look at it, it would be good. I'm studying to be, I want to be a filmmaker, but it would be interesting to adapt Power Stone into a movie, but obviously it would not sell that well at the box office because Power Stone is very esoteric. But overall, I like this anime a lot. It means a lot to me. The video game was part of my childhood, and, that's all I got to say about Power Stone, and as an anime and as a video game series.